planting up some blueberries that I bought today. I've got 2 bushes, blueberries like companion plants, and I'm going to be putting them into some pots that I bought. So I've never done blueberries before, but I'm hoping that this is going to be a great place for them. They're going to get a lot of sunshine, some shade in the evening. I think it should work out really well. I'm going to fill the pots with equal amounts of peat moss and some pine bark mulch, and then using the garden soil from the big yellow bag that I had purchased earlier to fill up the soil. These are the 2 blueberry plants that I bought. They're 2 different types, and they should help each other bloom. I won't get blueberries for a couple of years, but I've always wanted to try them, so we're going to give that a shot in our zone. I'm also going to add a little bit of this organic soil acidifier. It's great for blueberries, hydrangeas, different things that way, but again, blueberries really like acidic soil, so I'm going to try to help them out a little bit that way. So let's get started. I'm also going to be planting some raspberry bushes today in these 2 planters here at the end of our grapes. They need a little more space than they need about the same space as the blueberries, but I'm going to be using the same method that I did as the blueberries, layering the different types of material, and water them really good, cover them up with some mulch to help maintain that water, and hope for the best. Okay, now that we've got the berries potted up, we're going to get some cold weather this next week. It's going to go down in the upper 20s again. So we built a couple of hoop houses. We covered the berries just because they're brand new, want to protect their roots and hope for the best. So the 2 hoop houses we built are we're going to put the lettuces. I'm going to seed some carrots and some onions and different things in them, but really for the brassicas is what we're getting these set up for. I want to try to bring the dirt temperature up a little bit. We temped it before we put the hoop houses on, and I think it was down to 40, and it's now up to 46, I think. And so, 48. So we want to, that's great for planting. It just needs to be 40-ish to do the brassicas. They do okay with that. So what we did to build these was the cheap way of doing things. And so we used a number 4 film, 3 film, help me out.
It's a 3mm.
A 3mm. We used a number 3mm film. It's just a paint tarp that we bought. And then to make the hoops, we used some green plastic stakes that we put into the ground to put the piping on. This is called PEX. I confused it with
PVC.
oh my gosh. I confused it with PVC and learned that PVC doesn't bend. And so it's called PEX piping, and it's found in plumbing. And it's a
lot more pliable.
Yeah, it's much more pliable, but what is the...
It's a 1/2 inch.
Okay, it's a 1/2 inch, and that fit onto the green stakes that we bought just perfect. So we used that. We cut it in 5-inch lengths, 5-foot lengths, because that helped. That was the size that we needed to build the hoop size that we needed. And then we used, these are just the paper binders. Oh my gosh, maybe we should start over again.
Should be doing this.
I just snorted. These are the paper binders that you buy like at an office supply store. Cheap. They were $7 for 12, and they've worked out really well. It's heated things up. You can see that there's some heat going on inside. And we're hoping, I just need them for a couple of weeks until spring comes. Hopefully spring will come soon. I'm holding out for that. We also are going to plant some potatoes. And so to do that, I've mounded some dirt, and then I just hoed down the middle of it, and that's where the potato sprouts are going to go. I don't know if you remember our experiment. If you watched an earlier episode, we have some potatoes growing downstairs, and to be honest with you, they look and smell better than the potato starts that I'm finding at our local garden centers. They are rotted and nasty, so we can't go wrong. We're just going to try it and see what happens. I'm going to cut those up, and then we'll come out and plant them. I fertilized the ground a little bit with, let me show you. Last year we did potatoes in bags. I repurposed shopping bags, the plastic ones, and they did okay. We got from each bag, we got about probably 1 meal's worth of little tiny potatoes, but it was fun. So we're gonna try it again this year and see if we can't get bigger potatoes out of it, okay? So let's go chop those potatoes up. If you joined us earlier on one of our episodes, we showed you our potatoes had started to sprout, and they weren't this bad, but we figured it would be a great science experiment to see what happens. And here they are. And there's some russet potatoes and then some red potatoes. I bought these at Tags last year. They're a fruit stand, vegetable stand here in, I think they're up in Farmington here in Utah. Oh, Brigham City here in Utah. And they are amazing. We try to get, when I don't have squash growing, I've bought squash from them, and then potatoes, because I haven't grown potatoes. So anyway, we're going to try to plant these. This is what's going in the garden. So I want to explain the potato growth first. So when you go to the store or your local garden center and you're buying potato starts, is what they're called. Basically, you're getting a little tiny potato, and it will have little shoots on it. They won't be as big as this, but it'll have little tiny shoots on it. These are where you're going to cut. Each one of these we're going to leave attached to a piece of potato, and that's what we're going to plant. And then from all of these little tiny things, that's where new potatoes start to grow. And so we're going to see what happens here. So this one, I just wanted to see what I was getting into. You can see all of the, it's like a monster. It's like sea coral or something. It's pretty cool. But I could use this by just cutting in between all of these, and I could actually plant these two, which we will. We'll put these aside because we're going to plant. And then on this red one, I'm gonna cut like this, and then I'm going to do this, and we'll plant both of those in the ground, and we'll put that aside. I really like the red potatoes, so I'm going to try to, you can even do little ones like this, but because I have such big ones, I'm just going to stick with what I have on the big side of things. Okay, and then let's see what we can get off of this bad boy here. So you want, every one of these will be a new piece that you plant. Okay, so we're going to go from our science project, okay, to what we intended to grow. The greenhouse has been going bonkers. And remember the sweet potato, and I wasn't sure if it was going to grow in the pot. It is doing fabulous. I'm going to show you what we did. We're going to break a couple of off too. So once they get this tall, which is a little tall, you put them in water, and they'll start to grow their own roots. And then these will go out into the garden, and basically the same thing that we're going to do this time is you just put them in the ground and bury them. These lids are pretty awesome. I just got these off Amazon, and to separate things out. They're meant for florals. When you do your floral arrangements, that's what they're meant for, but they work great for potato slips. So that's what I'm doing. These are the other potatoes that are growing, the sweet potatoes. We're just going to keep going. I won't use all of the slips because we won't use that many potatoes, but we're going to let them grow and see what happens. Also, I moved the tomatoes up from out of the greenhouse. They were starting to top out at the lights, and some of them were starting to get a little burned. You can see that there's some burnt leaves and stuff on here. I went through and picked a lot of them off today. Some were even flowering already. I don't want that to happen. These won't go out into the ground until May. I have been fertilizing with the Neptunes, and they've gone bonkers. They have done so well with that. The house doesn't smell so well, but they are doing really well. And I've taken up our eating space, so now we either have to go out to dinner every night or we have to TV dinner it in the living room. So anyway, I just wanted to show because I'm so excited. This is the biggest my tomatoes have ever looked. The peppers are still down under the lights. They are a little slower in growing, and they normally are, but they really like the heat. And so I'm going to leave them down in the greenhouse, gave them a little more space, and we'll see how they do. But this is great. Okay, let's go out and plant those potatoes that we just cut, okay? Okay. So to plant them, we're going to go 3 inches apart, and if you want smaller potatoes, you can plant them closer. If you want larger potatoes, you can go more. I'm going to do the 3 inches just because of the space that we have, and I don't care if they're small, we'll eat them. And so I'm gonna do that. So we're just going to take them, you put the potato side down, you put them into the ground, and then we're just going to bury those around. So without knowing what 3 inches, I'm just going to try to go like that, and that's going to be where my next potato is going to go. I'm going to dig down a little bit. We don't want to bury this sticking out all the way. That is what is going to get our potato growing. It's what's going to photosynthesize, and so we need that on there. Otherwise, it will not grow very well. The reason I'm only doing 1 row of all of these and not doing anything in front, I already said hollyhocks are growing in the back, but in front I'm going to plant the cabbage. It's a great companion plant for potatoes because potatoes obviously are going to go down and up on top, but the roots won't intermingle with any of the cabbage that will be in the front. That's the plan. All right, it's been a busy weekend here at the Bountiful Farmhouse, and I am so grateful for the warm weather that we've had. Not as much sunshine today as yesterday, but I'll take it. I'm looking forward to spring. Thank you for joining us here. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for us. We like to hear what's going on with the rest of you, and we'll see you next time.